Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We'll do the second page now. So we want to do negative 100 to the square root. Well, that's impossible. And it's impossible because there's no way I can get one number multiplied so it's itself twice, to give negative 100. If I tried negative 10 times negative 10, I'm going to get positive 100. And if I tried positive 10, I'm also going to get positive 100. There's no number, when I multiply it by itself, will give me negative 100. However, this one can be done because this is the cubed root of negative 1,000. That'll be negative 10 because negative 10 times negative 10 times negative 10 gives me my negative 1,000. Negative 32 to the fifth, that works. That'll be negative 2. But negative 0.0001 to the fourth root is impossible. So what is the sort of overall pattern here? If I have an odd index number, then it's possible to get a negative radicand to be rooted. However, if I have an even index number, it's impossible to root a negative radicand. All right, that takes us to our next step. Now this one's a little bit interesting, and we talked about it, I think, just a little bit before we got into this video. But what if I have a number that looks like this? Well, that number can be changed to 3 times 1/5. Now let's look at why. Because 3 can be changed to 3 over 1. Top times top, bottom times bottom gives me 3 over 5. The same can be true for so in other words, when I have a fraction, a over b, it can be changed into either a over 1 times 1 over b, or it can be changed into 1 over b times a over 1. So I break it up. What's the point of doing that? This 1 over b. And that's important because when I have an exponent with 1 over b, we know that an exponent of 1 over b is equal to the b root of that radicand. And that's what we're going to be using moving forward. So, one way of talking about that, let's do this just to make sure that it's really clear. So if I have something like 3 over 2, let's call it to the 25. Okay, so 25 to the 3 over 2, that can be changed into 25 to the 1/2 times 3 over 1. And this can be changed into 25 square rooted all to the 3. And that's what we're working with here. So that's how we're going to change things up. And this can be worked out to be 5 to the 3 because the square root of 25 is 5. And then 5 to the 3 is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. So when I have the fifth root of 32 to the 3, and if I want to write this as a single rational exponent, so exponential form, an exponent, it's going to be 32 to the 1/5 times 3, which is 32 to the 3 over 5. And we're going to go back and forth with this. We're going to go this way and this way. This is in exponential form. And this is in radical form. And you can tell the difference because this has a radical sign. So 16 to the 3 over 4. They want us to evaluate it, so get a numerical answer. Well, to do this, we're not going to use a calculator. So we're going to first change this into 16 to the 1/4 times 3 over 1, which is the 4th root of 16 times 3. And then we just do it in order. So the 4th root of 16 is 2, and 2 to the 3 is 8. And that is how you do a question like that. Here's the next one. Negative 64 to the 3rd root squared. Okay, so that's 2 over 3 being changed into the 3rd root squared. Well, that's going to be 4, negative 4, squared, which is going to be positive 16. Next one, 0.008 to the 3rd root to the 4. Well, I think that's going to be 0.2, but let's check. 0.008 to the 3rd root is 0.2. I was right. So then this is going to equal 0.2 to the 4. I'm going to use my calculator, and it's going to be 0.0016. 16 to the negative 1/2. That might be hard to see, but there it is. So let's deal with the negative first. We know how to deal with that. Well, actually, let's do this. How do you like them apples? Because negative 1 times 1/2 is going to give me negative 1/2. So then I can just do the square root of 16, which is 4, and then apply the negative exponent, which we learned in our last lesson. So 25 to the negative 1/2, or 1 over 25, sorry, to the negative 1/2. In this one, I'm going to change the order. I'm going to let the negative be on the inside. Now, what we know here is that this negative will flip the base, and then that'll be the square root of 25, which is 5. That's probably the easiest way to do that one. And so the last one, 16 over 25 to the negative 1/2. Again, I'm going to let the negative go first. That's going to flip this base. We learned that in our last lesson. Now the 1/2 is going to go both to the top and to the bottom. So it's going to be the square root of 25 over the square root of 16, which is 5 over 4, or 1.25. Yes, that's right. All right, that's it. You got some questions to work on, and I'll see you on Thursday.